Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Beauty Matters with me, Lin Clive, on ALBUK TV. Today, we are joined by a photographer for the first time, Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm honored to be the first photographer on this amazing show. So thank
I'm
you for
so
having
excited
me.
for it. And I'm sure all the viewers will be because photography and having a perfect photo now is important, especially in a day of it's all about social media and your image, really. So it's an honor to have you today.
Oh, thanks.
Carla, tell me about your background. How you started as a photographer? Was it always your dream job?
If I'm totally honest, it actually wasn't a massive dream job of mine. I started out after graduating with a fashion degree from Manchester. I went on to be a model. So I actually worked for quite a big agency in Manchester called Boss, and I did all sorts of modelling campaigns, all commercial work, a lot of TV adverts and that kind of thing. And it was a really, really fun job. And then I actually ended up getting my dream job actually as the real life Barbie for toy company Mattel. So
Okay,
I traveled.
that's
Yeah,
the topic I'm gonna focus on. Yeah.
it was really, really fun. And I traveled all over the UK and Europe as their official real life Barbie. So that was a full-time job. But then I got married and realized, of course, as glamorous and fun as it was doing the modeling jobs and Barbie, I couldn't sustain that if we were to have a family. So I kind of had to start thinking, like, what are my options? And I was actually at a friend's wedding and was watching the photographer moving around the room, and I thought, I feel like I would be really good at that. I'm a people person. I like chatting to people. I'm not somebody to be sat behind a desk. And so I turned to my husband and said, I think I want to be a photographer. And he was like, what? You've never mentioned that ever before. Like, don't be so ridiculous. But I didn't let it sit. The next day I kept talking about it. And then actually that Christmas, he got me my first camera, and then the journey just began. So that's how I fell into it.
So you did trainings and shadowing. So how you
Yeah.
progressed your career?
I was really lucky because, of course, being in the industry already with my modelling work, I was able to go on jobs and kind of just watch what people were doing. And I would sit in the corner. I'm always, once I have an idea, I have to do it properly. So I would sit with books and read, everything about photography, everything about digital photography, editing. And then if I had a question, I would be asking the editor on the shoot that I was on and the photographer, like, what's this setting on this camera? And so I was really privileged to kind of have that advantage and lucky to be able to shadow really good photographers. And then it was just a case of, like any sort of job, really practicing and kind of learning my skill the hard way and getting my own style from just testing with lots of models. And now predominantly I shoot weddings and pageant girls, and I've always been a pageant girl myself. So again, that felt like a natural sort of path for me to go down. And yeah, and now I've got my own studio and I'm fairly successful with it. So it's all worked out.
Perfectly. I'm happy that it's working very well for you. I've tried it myself and I will share my experience about photography, having a photo shoot with you. Now, tell me about real life Barbie.
Oh, well, Barbie was absolutely amazing. And the funny thing is, anytime I bring that up, people are really interested because it is a really random job, but it was a real job. I got paid very well for it. And I met some amazing people, some really good celebrities. I met the Spice Girls, so people that I really looked up to. And it was very strange because I never forget when I met Mel C, Sporty Spice, at a movie premiere for a new Barbie film. So every so often Barbie would bring out new movies and they would do like a big, massive film premiere, and they had celebrities and bloggers and whatever else would turn up with their kids. So they would come and meet Barbie and get an autograph and then go and watch the movie. So it was very strange because these people that I was so excited to meet were actually excited to meet Barbie. It was very bizarre. And I never forget.
Barbie suits you a lot, by the way.
I never forget Mel C actually cried when her little girl met Barbie, and I was like, oh my gosh, Barbie's cried. Anyway, so it was a really amazing job. They had a casting for it in London, and I went down, and I got through to the next stage, and then we went to Mattel's head office and met all the team there, and then I got the job. So I did it for 5 years. So I feel very lucky. And after I got pregnant, they actually stopped the job. So it's quite sad. So I don't think it exists anymore. So I feel.
I was going to tell you now, all young girls who's watching are dreaming, I'm gonna be Barbie.
It was. I mean, it was really fun. And yeah, I really, really loved it.
But it's not existed anymore.
No, sadly they stopped it. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they decided to bring it to an end. So yeah, I'm glad that I got to be part of it.
You mentioned casting. So what they cast for? Like, is it how to pose as a Barbie, or how knowledge you have, or what?
I think it was just mainly kind of your personality was the big one, and that you have to be, you know, really relatable and a good role model for young little girls that are going to be looking up to you. And it was a hard job. I mean, I'm obviously selling all the really fun sides of it. You were, you know, traveling all over the country, you were tired, you were on your feet all day, you had to constantly smile, and that comes pretty much naturally to me anyway. But all those little things, I mean, they can't have, you know, a diva Barbie at a premiere or a launch of a new product. So they have to find the right person for that job. And then of course appearance came into it as well. You had to have blonde hair, so little things like that. And yeah, I didn't expect to get the job, but because I'm a huge Barbie fan, I thought I can't not go to the casting. So when I got to the final stage and met everybody at head office, I was like, oh, it's actually in real Mattel head office with all their like famous dolls from history, and it was amazing. And when I got the job, I was so happy.
It's very interesting hearing about it, and I just found out about it yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and also like what real Barbie means, like what do you do? So it was really interesting knowing about it, and you looked amazing. I've been watching photos and videos. So Charlotte, now you are a photographer. You do weddings. You do what else do you do? Family photos?
Yeah, I've got a studio in Leeds, so I photograph a lot of families, a lot of newborn babies, but predominantly my sort of main job is doing pageant girl portfolios, which is of course where I met your gorgeous self.
Thank you.
So
I had the best photos.
Oh, we had such a fun shoot. I didn't want you to go home. You're so interesting. But yeah, I feel really lucky to do that because I work with two of my best friends, Patrick and Duncan, who are the UK Glam Squad, and they're hair and makeup artists, and they just make girls feel amazing and really put them at ease before they come on set with me. And then it's just a really fun experience because I have been part of the pageant industry since I was 17 and I'm 33 now. I've been in it a long time, so I know what it's like to be nervous before a shoot. And I know what photos that are needed in the pageant industry, so it just kind of all flows and works really well.
So because you have a background, you would be able to guide kind of the ladies about how to pose, what to do, also how to prepare for a photo shoot, right? So do you give them this like guidance before, especially for people who they have it like first time experience? It's
so nerve-wracking. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, you're obviously a confident girl, but I think anyone feels a bit nervous and vulnerable when they turn up to a photo studio. It is really daunting, and I know that because I did it as a job, and even still, even if I had lots of jobs in 1 month, I was still nervous going in. So I just try and prepare them best I can by sending out an outfit guide and a posing guide, but it's really my job to make sure I see the most flattering poses for that girl. So when you arrive, I spend time chatting to them, and then I give all the directions so that everybody feels comfortable and confident on set.
So for headshots, if you will show us some poses.
Oh gosh. I actually have a headshot posing guide that I made because it's quite helpful. So if anybody's interested in that, they can download it for free off my website.
Contact Charlotte.
So yeah, and the girls have found it quite helpful. It's kind of like the go-to pose is kind of always like a beauty pose, like hand on here, and maybe bring it across here, hand behind your neck, and two hands in, hand to the side. I kind of do the little series of poses and get the girls to mirror me throughout their shoot. So I just say, treat me like a mirror, just copy what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong, I do get some girls on set who are very confident and are models anyway, and they kind of are off and doing it themselves. But even then, I'll sort of say, no, chin down a little bit, turn to the side, maybe bring your hand here, hand behind your ear, hand to your earring. And yeah, it doesn't matter whether somebody's got experience or no experience at all. It's my job to get the best out of them.
So now we are more into social media and more into the world of image. Do you think that's because everyone have a phone on their pockets and they are able to take photos and filter it and change whatever, edit it? Do you think that's decrease the importance of going for a photo shoot? What's your opinion?
I don't think it does decrease people wanting to come for a proper photo shoot. I think it's brilliant that we've got really good camera phones now. I mean, even, you know, my new iPhone, I absolutely love it, and take fab pictures of the kids, because of course you don't want to lug around a big camera with you all day. People always say to me, oh, you must have amazing pictures of your children. I've got 3 little boys. But no, I mean, any busy mom doesn't carry around a big heavy camera. So I'm using my phone all day long for photos. But I think if you want that experience, which is kind of what I sell within my own studio, that it's not just, you know, a photo shoot. It's been decorated recently so that it's real feminine girl power feel. You go in and you kind of get a big dollop of feminism and empowerment. And I think the whole process of having your hair and makeup done and coming on set and feeling like a supermodel and having that supermodel moment, you can't get through phone pictures. But I think for day-to-day snapshots and selfies, phones are absolutely fab, and I'm a massive fan of them myself.
Yeah, just in my opinion, I think, for example, a wedding or an event, it's impossible to get a perfect shot by a phone. So you need someone who knows how, like, to take the right angle, light. So there are many things to consider more than just like take random photos, because out of 100 you might find one nice at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember when phones were kind of getting better and somebody said to me, oh, they won't need photographers anymore. I don't think that's all. I think you can have the most expensive camera, but you might not have an eye for it. And that's what you're paying for with a photographer. You're paying for their creativity. And especially on a wedding day. I mean, I know loads of people who say, oh, such a buddy, my uncle's got a decent camera. And that's great. But like I say, he might have a great camera, but has he got a great creative eye? And that's what you're paying for when a girl books me or any other photographer. It's that trust that they're going to capture the best version of you. I think phone snaps on weddings can be lovely. And you can, I mean, even from my wedding day, I've got lovely little memories from pictures that people took on their phone. But of course, the ones that I put in an album and put on the wall are going to be from my photographer.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Going back to what you do in your studio, it's just also a personal experience. I've tried to go to different photographers before. I've chatted with my friends about it. They make you feel like you are in a rush, and they make you feel like you're under pressure, and it's just like everyone's is different. What I noticed when I come to you is like you put the music on and you start dancing, and it's just like, it's a crazy, but it's so nice, and it's more of an experience than the end results. I love the end results, but I also remember the day, because you made me feel different. And it's just a message maybe for the other photographers who or photographers to be, people who are watching and learning. Try not to put pressure on the client or the model or whoever is in front of the camera, because I've been through it. And when you give like a little compliments, or when you give me this positive vibes, I enjoy it. It's, at the end of the day, it's an experience.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's something that I'm really proud of. Even when I have a portfolio day with various girls coming in, we have a maximum of 6, so that each girl gets their full experience in hair and makeup. They get a hair change, and when they shoot with me, there's no rushing. And if somebody books a one-to-one session, I leave enough time in the studio, like we did with you, and we chatted for ages after, because I want to know the person. I'm lucky enough to get paid for my job, but it's not all about the money. If I was doing it for the money, you know, I wouldn't enjoy it. The side that I love about it is making somebody see how gorgeous they are, feel amazing, leave feeling great about themselves. I get to share that moment with them. So like you say, it is an experience. And I mean, I'm giving compliments throughout the shoot, and they're genuine compliments. I mean, what I would say to you is different from what I'd say to another girl. It's not a generic, oh, you look gorgeous. I can see.
We would be able to know if you are faking it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
It's you know, I think, you know, women have all got something different and unique about them, and I just love women's beauty. So it's, you know, it's with you, it's your gorgeous eyes and your dark features, and it's all those little things that make you different from somebody else. So that's what I'll pick up on when I'm shooting, and notice and compliment you on.
Thank you, and you're doing it amazingly well. You have 3 kids as well. So how are you balancing? Now that's also important topic. It's a topic by itself. How you balance between having a career and having 3 little kids?
It's tricky. I mean, they're all quite young. My eldest is 4, and then there's a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I mean, it's madness in our house. Thankfully, they've gone back to school now, the 2 older ones, so that's a godsend. But it is tricky, and it is hard to find a balance. I'm still in the early stages of my business, and I've got a bit of a path ahead of things that I want to achieve. So I know that I've got hard work, and I think just making sure that I get them into bath and get them to bed, and I read them a bedtime story, are little things that are important to me. But I am lucky to, you know, my middle one's in nursery, and we've actually got an au pair, so she helps me with the younger one, and my husband's in the police, so he works a lot of shifts. So with that little bit of extra help, it allows me then to grow my business. So, and as much as I love being a mom, it is really important to me to have my own job, because I still need to feel like Charlotte. So it is tricky, but I try and find the balance best I can.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe you can give us some tips for the moms who really wants to do like build a career or whatever they want to do, but they cannot because they have kids. You have support from people around you, but not everyone might. Maybe just accept support. Maybe that's what we can advise.
Yeah, I think for me, my family live in Ireland, and my in-laws are brilliant and help me out. Every Wednesday they've got the kids, and if I've got a wedding and my husband's working and I'm really stuck, they'll always help me out. But the best decision we ever made was getting an au pair. Now, I'd never even heard of an au pair before. And then when I looked into it, I thought, oh, we definitely can't afford that. But it's actually a bit like an exchange experience. So we've got a lovely au pair at the minute called Laura, who lives with us from Italy. So she's here for a year, and she's 20. So in exchange for accommodation and food and everything else, and she gets pocket money, and she helps me with the kids and jobs like laundry and things like that. And it's those little jobs that as a mom, especially if a mom of 3, that can just build up and cause stress. So having somebody to kind of help balance that stress for me means I've got more time and more energy for the business. Yeah. So I would say to look into options. I kind of, at one point when I had the 2 kids, thought I was a bit stuck. But when I kind of really looked into it and spoke to other mums when we had the 3rd and saw that this was an option, it works perfectly for us. And Laura's actually become like a family member to me now. I'm dreading her going, and she's meant to be going in July, and then now she's extended it because she doesn't want to go either. But if you go on my Instagram, you'll see she features a lot. She's gorgeous, so I'm always, if it's a nice evening, I'm like, right, we're going outside and getting photos. So yeah, definitely research.
Amazing, it's working out.
Yeah.
So what's happening in terms of weddings for after the pandemic? And of course, all the brides will be like me, disappointed. So what's the plans in terms of what do you think is going to happen now?
Well, I had all my weddings cancelled this summer. Luckily, because I've got the studio, I'm not solely a wedding photographer. I think that must be really stressful for people that just do weddings. So I actually go back to work on Saturday, and I'm pretty much fully booked up until October with my studio work. But with my weddings, they've all been postponed to next year. And there's some that are still going ahead. One of my weddings is going ahead on the 1st of August, but she can only have 30 guests, and there's quite a lot of restrictions. So, I mean, it's a tricky one. I think if it was me, I probably would have just postponed it till next year. But then, of course, people want to start families and they want to be married and whatever else. So it's working out whatever's best for you and your partner. But it's been a real shame for brides, and of course you understand what it's been like. But it came as a real shock, and I think when I got my first cancellation, I was a bit like, oh, and then the second one, and then they just all dropped like flies. It was scary time.
And if anyone wants to contact you to have a photo shoot or to find more about what you're doing, where they can find you?
Well, I'm on social media on Instagram, Charlotte Clemie Photographer. So you can see my page there, and drop me a DM on there. And my Facebook page is Charlotte Clemie Photography. Or on my website, which is just charlotteclemiephotography.com. Have a little look. And if you want your free posing guides or sign up to my newsletter, I always send out monthly sort of freebies of hints and tips on posing at home. And my next freebie is on taking good iPhones with your iPhone. So if anybody's interested in that, sign up to the newsletter and they'll get that for free.
Amazing. So when I looked at your photos, like had a look on the website, you have a signature style.
Oh, fab.
Yeah. Is that something important for a photographer?
Oh, I definitely think so. I mean, if somebody sees a photo and they say, oh, that's a Charlotte photo, that's a huge...
Yeah, that's what you can tell. Like, it's very clean, neat. That's what I just like, personal opinion. You can tell it is your work. So I don't see it in many photographers as I have signature style. And some photos you can tell, like, yes, that's whoever, like that's a photographer, but others it's a bit random. So you think it's important for a photographer to have a signature style?
Yes, I definitely think so. I think when you're starting out, you maybe don't know exactly what your style is, and it's a bit of trial and error of seeing what you like and what you don't like. Even my poses, I kind of have sort of a set of poses that I go through with girls because they work with the lenses that I use and the setups that I use. So the quicker that you kind of get to know your own style, the better you can get at perfecting it. And yes, that's a real compliment that you think that I've got a style. And I think when you're booking a photographer, if you like their style, then you put your trust in them. And I often will sometimes I will get a bride contact me, sending me examples of other photographers. And although that's really great for inspiration and style of what the feel of the day, I always say to them, if you look as well at my photos, because if you're booking me, you need to really love my style before you want to book me. And I think that's important. You've got to love that photographer's style if you want to go with them.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of if I want to sit like a mini studio at home and take photos, what shall I look for? Like, give us some tips and hints.
Well, I actually did a series, or I shot 150 girls over FaceTime during lockdown for charity. So I raised £3,000 for Women's Aid, which is a domestic abuse charity for women and children. So I got people to set up their own home studio.
That's amazing.
It was really fun. So what the hints and tips that I would have on that one was find a really good window. It doesn't necessarily need to be the biggest window in the house. In fact, sometimes like a small, more concentrated light window, like one in a bathroom, can work really well. The girls would then kind of surround themselves with white. So they would almost build like a tent around them of white sheets. So that it's just like a little cocoon of white light. Which is one of my favorite setups to do at the studio anyway. And then they would get their own reflector. So it'd literally be a baking tray covered in tin foil. And that would be their reflector for the light. And just kind of moving that reflector to see where the light hits the face best. And then setting your timer on your phone. If you even sellotape your phone to the window, set a timer on it, and voila, you've got your own
You
little
got studio.
headshot studio. Exactly. And that's what I was doing on the FaceTime shoots. They'd be masking taping me to the window, and I'd be putting them in the right poses, and that was it. And the results were like surprisingly really good. I'm still getting requests now for them, but I've had to bring an end because I go back to work soon properly.
Yeah.
But again, if you go on my Instagram, you can have a little look at some of the headshots from that.
Yeah, if you want to build your own studio,
Yeah.
follow the steps. Charlotte, what are your plans for the future?
Well, as a busy mom, of course, I'm trying to, like we mentioned earlier, keep a bit of a balance, but I do have big plans. I've always got a business head on me. And my kind of dream over the next few years is just to grow my studio. I would love to one day have another photographer working in there with me who maybe specialises in an area that I can't specialise in myself. And also offer education. That's kind of a big dream of mine. I'm still learning and I've got a long way to go. But I get a lot of DMs on Instagram from people starting out, and I love helping people that want to build their own dream career. So for me, helping people, if I can do some sort of education at the studio, that would be a real dream for me. So watch this space. I've still got a long way to go, but in between them, hopefully lots more pageant girls, lots more weddings, lots more women, and just still loving my job.
I wish you all the best. You're very talented, and I'm sure you will achieve all your dreams. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.